Y'all, can you believe that we're about to close out yet another book? I'm excited. Progress, not perfection, honey. Like, we're here. We've made progress to day 64. And I gotta celebrate that. Like, it's so nice. We'll be closing out Deuteronomy today by reading chapters 32 through 34. And then, we go into Psalms 62. So, no? Psalm 64. And yeah, from there, that's pretty much the end of the reading today. But tomorrow, we'll go into the new book of Joshua, which is pretty much, you can kind of feel the transition from Moses to Joshua. This is it, you know. There was a devotional. So the devotional video is pretty much a recap about the structure of how Deuteronomy is laid out and some things. It kind of like goes over like what the story was about and why it was laid out that way, and what kind of strings the chapter leaves behind when we close out this chapter. But it says today you are scheduled to complete the book of Deuteronomy, the final book in the Torah. Watch this video to review the literary design and flow of thought. So if that's stuff you're interested in, all of that information is in the link in the description. You can click, watch the video. Again, it's like a short, I think it was 7 to 8 minute long video. But yeah, that gives you little like insighty gems. On the top of Deuteronomy 32, it says, "Listen, O heavens, and I will speak. Hear, O earth, the words that I say. Let my teaching fall on you like rain. Let my speech settle like dew. Let my words fall like rain on tender grass, like gentle showers on young plants. I will proclaim the name of the Lord. How glorious is our God. He is the rock. His deeds are perfect. Everything he does is just and fair. He is a faithful God who does no wrong. How just and upright he is. But they have acted corruptly towards him. When they act so perversely, are they really his children? They are a deceitful and twisted generation. Is this the way you repay the Lord, you foolish and senseless people? Isn't he your father who created you? Has he not made you and established you? Remember the days of long ago. Think about the generations past. Ask your father, and he will inform you. Inquire of your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High assigned the lands to the nations, when he divided up the human race, he established the boundaries of the peoples according to the number in his heavenly court. As the Desiree scrolls, which reads the number of sons of God, the Greek version, which reads the number of the angels of God. Masoric, like masons, reads the number of sons of Israel. Okay. That's a big old question. For the people of Israel belong to the Lord. Jacob is his special possession. He found them in a desert land, in an empty, howling wasteland. He surrounded them and watched over them. He guarded them as he would guard his own eyes, like an eagle that rouses her chicks and hovers over her young. So he spread his wings to take them up and carry them safely on his pinions. The Lord alone guided them. They followed no foreign gods and let them ride. They followed no foreign gods. He let them ride over the highlands and feast on the crops of the fields. He nourished them with honey from the rock and olive oil from the stony ground. He fed them yogurt from the herd and milk from the flock, together with the fat of lambs. He gave them choice rams from Bashan and goats together with the choicest wheat. You drank the finest wine made from the juice of grapes. But Israel soon became fat and unruly. The people grew heavy, plump, and stuffed. Then they abandoned the God who had made them. They made light of the rock of their salvation. They stirred up his jealousy by worshiping foreign gods. They provoked his fury with detestable deeds. They offered sacrifices to demons, which are not God, to gods they had not known before. To new gods only recently arrived, to gods their ancestors had never feared. You neglected the rock who had fathered you. You forgot the God who had given you birth. The Lord saw this and drew back, provoked to anger by his own sons and daughters. He said, I will abandon them, then see what becomes of them. For they are a twisted generation, children without integrity. They have roused my jealousy by worshiping things that are not God. They have provoked my anger with their useless idols. Now I will arouse their jealousy through people who are not even a people. I will provoke their anger through the foolish Gentiles. For my anger blazes forth like fire and burns to the depths of the grave. It devours the earth and all its crops and ignites the foundations of the mountain. I will heap disasters upon them and shoot them down with my arrows. I will weaken them with famine, burning fever, and deadly disease. I will send the fangs of wild beasts and poisonous snakes that glide in the dust. Outside, the sword will bring death, and inside, terror will strike both young men and young women, both infants and aged. I would have annihilated them, wiping out even the memory of them, but I feared the taunt of Israel's enemy, who might misunderstand and say, our own power has triumphed. The Lord had nothing to do with this. But Israel is a senseless nation. The people are foolish, without understanding. Oh, that they were wise and could understand this. Oh, that they might know their fate. How could one person chase 1,000 of them, and 2 people put 10,000 to flight, unless the rock had sold them, unless the Lord had given them up? But the rock of our enemies is not like our rock, as even they recognize. Their vine grows from the vine of Sodom, from the vineyards of Gomorrah. Their grapes are poison and their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the venom of serpents, the deadly poison of cobras. The Lord says, am I not storing up these things, sealing them away in my treasury? I will take revenge. I will pay them back. In due time their feet will slip. Their day of disaster will arrive, and their destiny will overtake them. Indeed, the Lord will give justice to his people, and he will change his mind about his servants. When he sees their strength is gone and no one is left, slave or free, then he will ask, where are the gods, the rocks they fled to for refuge? Where now are those gods who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their offerings? Let those gods rise and help you. Let them provide you with shelter. Look now, I myself am he. There is no other God but me. I am the one who kills and gives life. I am the one who wounds and heals. No one can be rescued from my powerful hand. Now I raise my hand to heaven and declare, as surely as I live, when I sharpen my flashing sword and begin to carry out justice. I will take revenge on my enemies and repay those who reject me. I will make my arrows drink with blood, and my sword will devour flesh, the blood of the slaughtered and the captives, and the heads of the enemy leaders. Rejoice with him, you heavens, and let Rejoice with him, you heavens, and let all the God's angels worship him. Rejoice with his people, you Gentiles, and let all the angels be strengthened in him. For he will avenge the blood of his children. He will take revenge against his enemies. He will repay those who hate him and cleanse his people's land. So Moses came with Joshua son of Nun and recited all the words of this song to the people. When Moses had finished reciting all these words to the people of Israel, he added, "Take to heart all the words of warning I have given you today. Pass them on as I have commanded to your children, so they will obey every word of these instructions. These instructions are not empty words. They are your life. By obeying them, you will enjoy a long life in the land you will occupy when you cross the Jordan River." Moses' death foretold. I'm going to go back real quick because I'm forgetting something. How did Deuteronomy 31 end? The Song of Moses. So Moses recited this entire song publicly to the assembly of Israel. Okay, so this is the lyrics of the song. Okay, so these were all a psalm, essentially. But this is the song, it's a song of praise. It's like a song that kind of foretells, it starts off as like, hey, listen, and this is what you'll have. But then it kind of foretells that they are not going to listen, they're going to turn away. And yeah, up to Deuteronomy 32, 1 through 14, kind of tells like, okay, this is the tale of like how you've been protected, how you've been fed, how you've been cared for. And then in 15, there's a shift and it says, "But Israel soon became fat and unruly. The people grew heavy, plump, and stuffed. They abandoned the God who had made them. They made light of the rock of their salvation." So then this is like the shift into their disobedience. I guess this is the foretelling of their disobedience. They're going to enter this land. They're going to have good olive oil, grape, and grain. They also have all the good goats and flock meat from Bashan and the kingdoms that they conquered. And now they're going to end up, and after all of that, when it's good, when they're enjoying their harvest and the good times, they're going to become unruly. And then that's going to provoke God's anger. And explain what they'll receive after being abandoned by God. And how God will start mocking them. Because he's going to be like, "Where are your gods now?" But they're like, "No other gods can save you from the Lord's mighty hand." So that's okay. And then it tells of redemption in Psalms 43, when "Rejoice with him, you heavens, and let all the God's angels worship him." This is after he's taken all his revenge and slaughtered the captives and the heads of his enemy leaders and all of that. It says, "Rejoice with him, for he will avenge the blood of his children, and he will revenge against his enemies." And he will take revenge against his enemies. Okay. So now we're on Moses' death foretold. The same day the Lord said to Moses, "Go to Moab, to the mountains east of the river, and climb Mount Nebo, which is across from Jericho. Look out across the land of Canaan, the land I am giving to the people of Israel as their own special possession. Then you will die there on the mountain. You will join your ancestors, just as Aaron your brother died on Mount Hor and joined his ancestors. For both of you betrayed me with the Israelites at the waters of Meribah at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. You failed to demonstrate my holiness to the people of Israel there. So you will see the land from a distance, but you may not enter the land I am giving you. But you may not enter the land I am giving to the people of Israel." Yeah, I think it's a bit concerning because a few times Moses said, like, "But the Lord became angry with me because of you." He said this while addressing the people of Israel. And it's like, but the Lord didn't become angry with you because of them. He became angry with you because of you. Because of the way you behaved in following the instructions of giving the water to the thirsty Israelites. It was your disobedience. Yes, the Israelites grumping and mumbling and anger and griping, that kind of wore away at Moses, and like I can see why Moses' anger lashed out the way it did, and like, must we always bring you to water? But in that statement, he claims the Lord's power for himself, and he fails to demonstrate God's power. Those were his words, not someone else's words. Whatever the motive was, whatever led him down that path, whatever caused it, he's ultimately the one who disobeyed in his actions and words. So now Moses is gone and he's up at the top. He's going to go die. No, he didn't die yet. He's told what to do, so that he can pass away. Moses blesses the people. Then this is the blessing that Moses, the man of God, gave to the people of Israel before his death. The Lord came from Mount Sinai and dawned upon us from Mount Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran and came from Meribah Kadesh with flaming fire at his right hand. Indeed, he loves his people. All his holy ones are in his hands. They follow in his steps and accept his teachings. Moses gave us the Lord's instructions, the special possession of the people of Israel. The Lord became king in Israel. When the leaders of the people assembled, when the tribes of Israel gathered as one, Moses said this about the tribe of Reuben: "Let the tribe of Reuben live and not die out, though they are few in number." Moses said this about the tribe of Judah: "O Lord, hear the cry of Judah and bring them together as a people. Give them strength to defend their cause. Help them against their enemies." Moses said this about the tribe of Levi: "O Lord, you have given your Thummim and Urim, the sacred lots, to your faithful servants the Levites. You put them to the test at Manesh and struggled with them at the waters of Meribah. The Levites obeyed your word and guarded your covenant. They were more loyal to you than to their own parents. They ignored their relatives and did not acknowledge their own children. They teach your regulations to Jacob. They give your instructions to Israel. They present incense before you and offer whole burnt offerings on the altar. Bless the ministry of the Levites, O Lord, and accept all the work of their hands. Hit their enemies where it hurts the most. Strike down their foes so they never rise again. I find verse 10 interesting because it's like the difference between Jacob and Israel. There's a nuance in that statement I don't understand yet. Moses said this about the tribe of Benjamin. The people of Benjamin are loved by the Lord and live in safety beside him. He surrounds them continuously and preserves them from every harm. Moses said this about the tribes of Joseph. May their land be blessed by the Lord with the precious gifts of dew from the heavens and water from beneath the earth, with the rich fruit that grows in the sun and the rich harvest produced each month, with the finest crops of the ancient mountains and the abundance of the everlasting hills, with the best gifts of the earth and its bounty, and the flavor of the one who appeared in the burning bush. May these blessings rest on Joseph's head, crowning the brow of the prince among his brothers. Joseph has the majesty of a young bull. He has the horns of a wild ox. He will gore distant nations, even to the ends of the earth. This is my blessing for the multitudes of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh. Moses said this about the tribes of Zebulun and Issachar. May the people of Zebulun prosper in their travels. May the people of Issachar prosper at home in their tents. They summon the people of the mountain to offer proper sacrifices there. They benefit from the riches of the sea and the hidden treasures in the sand. Moses said this about the tribes of Gad. Blessed is the one who enlarges Gad's territory. Gad is poised like a lion to tear off an arm or a head. The people of Gad took the best land for themselves. A leader's share was assigned to them. When the leaders of the people were assembled, they carried out the Lord's justice and obeyed his regulations for Israel. Moses said this about the tribe of Dan. Dan is a lion's cub, leaping out from Bashan. Moses said this about the tribe of Naphtali. O Naphtali, you are rich in favor and full of the Lord's blessing. May you possess the west and the south. Moses said this about the tribe of Asher. May Asher be blessed above other sons. May he be esteemed by his brothers. May he bathe his feet in olive oil. May the bolt of your gates be of iron and bronze. May you be secure all your days. There is no one like God of Israel. There is no one like the God of Israel. He rides across the heavens to help you, across the skies in majestic splendor. The eternal God is your refuge, and his everlasting arms are under you. He drives out the enemy before you. He cries out, destroy them. So Israel will live in safety, prosperous Jacob in security in a land of grain and new wine, while the heavens drop down dew. How blessed you are, O Israel. Who else is like you, a people saved by the Lord? He is your protecting shield and your triumphant sword. Your enemies will cringe before you, and you will stomp on their backs. in Deuteronomy 34, the death of Moses. Then Moses went up to Mount Nebo from the plains of Moab and climbed Pisgah Peak, which is across from Jericho. And the Lord showed him the whole land, from Gilead as far as Dan, all the land of Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah, extending to the Mediterranean Sea. The Negev, the Jordan Valley, with Jericho, the city of palms, as far as Zor. Then the Lord said to Moses, "This is the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob when I said, I will give it to your descendants. I have now allowed you to see it with your own eyes, but you will not enter the land." So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, just as the Lord had said. The Lord buried him in a valley near Beth-peor in Moab, but to this day no one knows the exact place. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyesight was clear, and he was as strong as ever. The people of Israel mourned for Moses on the plains of Moab for 30 days until the customary period of mourning was over. Now Joshua, son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him. So the people of Israel obeyed him, doing as the Lord had commanded Moses. There has never been another prophet in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. The Lord sent him to perform all the miraculous signs and wonders in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh and all his servants and his entire land. With mighty power, Moses performed terrifying acts in the sight of all Israel. It's a sad way for Moses to go. Like, I get it, the disobedience and all of that, and what strikes me is it's like all of Israel never had another prophet like Moses, you know? And for all the work that he did, it was the shortcoming of, like, his anger management, was it? Maybe it wasn't that, or it was just a reminder that, like, Moses was tired, man. And I think he just needed a moment to separate himself and renew himself in the Lord he knew and loved and served. He was just so caught up in all of Israel's everything that Moses couldn't be relinquished from the human emotion that was just kind of raging in him. And in that moment where he was supposed to display God's holiness, I would say it was his human emotions that tainted his works. So it's like, even in all of the closeness Moses had with God, he still had the weakness of the emotion. He still had the weakness of the humanity in him. So it's like, you can be close, you can be praying every day, you can be doing all that, but what are you doing to restore yourself, your spirit, your mind, your heart, your emotions in the grace of the Lord, so that you can be so that you can be, what's the word? Slow to anger. So that you can be slow to anger. Like, how are you renewing yourself? So that you can be at peace when you're facing all of the garbage people are throwing at you. So, like, how are you dealing with that? How are you taking time to separate and renew in the Lord? Because those small moments when you think, oh, they took me out my spirit, they called me out my spirit, I had to get out my spirit. Those small moments, or what seems like small moments to you, can keep you from receiving your blessing even when it's within sight. Like, you can see your blessings, you can see them coming, but you can be kept from them because of those moments of blowing up, being called out your spirit, being overly like, mainly being called out your spirit. I'll say that because y'all know, like, when you get snapped, and your emotions get the better of you, and you say things you didn't mean sometimes, or otherwise, or like you say things you've been bottling in for a very long time. Just remember, you gotta keep renewing yourself no matter how tight your relationship is with the Lord. Keep renewing yourself in Him so that you can handle the storm of the faithless. And Psalm 64, for the choir director, a psalm of David. O God, listen to my complaint. Protect my life from my enemies' threats. Hide me from the plots of the evil mob, from this gang of wrongdoers. They sharpen their tongues like swords and aim their bitter words like arrows. They shoot from ambush at the innocent, attacking suddenly and fearlessly. They encourage each other to do evil and plan how to set their traps in secret. Who will ever know this, they ask. As they plot their crimes, they say, we have devised the perfect plan. Yes, the human heart and mind are cunning, but God Himself will shoot them with His arrows, suddenly striking them down. Their own tongues will ruin them, and all who see them will shake their heads in scorn. Then everyone will be afraid. They will proclaim the mighty acts of God and realize all the amazing things He does. The godly will rejoice in the Lord and find shelter in Him, and those who do what is right will praise Him. Yeah, that's all of the Psalms. I pray for renewal. That's what I pray. I pray that all of you can be out there, myself included, all of us can be out there doing the work we need to do, and doing it from a full cup, being continuously renewed by the Lord's Spirit and favor and blessings, by His calmness and His grace, being continually strengthened in our wisdom and our discernment, being able to find peace within ourselves when we face the storms of our realities and everyone's troubles. I pray for continued growth in the Spirit. And may God continually provide us with the wisdom that we need to get through our days. Stay close to Him, and separate yourselves when you need it, without the guilt, without the trepidation, and without the fear. Step away when you need it, so that you may be renewed. Ah, renew me, God. Renew me. Renew me. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Have a good one. I am going. Goodbye.